So, most of you are probably familiar with the game Jenga. It was invented by Leslie Scott in the 1980s and is usually seen as a dexterity game where the clumsiest player loses. And although that is usually true, if you look more closely, Jenga actually has some very interesting mathematical properties. But before we get into that, we're going to give a brief demonstration of the rules.
Here we see two players setting up for a game of Jenga. They stack the blocks in layers of 3, with each layer perpendicular to the one below it. A standard Jenga set has 54 blocks, for a total of 18 layers. Although as mathematicians, of course, we like to think of this as n layers, where in the standard configuration, n equals 18. Once the tower is complete, the players are ready to begin. They take it in turns to remove a block from anywhere in the tower, placing it on top as if to form a new layer. Play continues like this, alternately removing a block, placing it on top, removing a block, placing it on top, taking care not to cause the tower to collapse. There is one restriction: no block may ever be taken from the topmost completed layer. As play continues, more layers become available for play, and the tower becomes increasingly unstable, making it harder to find a viable move. Eventually, the tower becomes so unstable that it becomes quite difficult to find a playable move. And at some point, one of the players will cause the tower to collapse. And whoever causes it to collapse loses. Now, in order to understand the mathematics of Jenga, we first have to talk about the physics of Jenga. A typical move is like so, in this case, removing a block from the center of one of the layers. Notice that once this block has been removed, neither of the bricks on either side of it can ever be taken. No matter how skilled the players are, removing any of these blocks will cause the tower to collapse simply due to gravity. Similarly, if a block is taken from the end, then the center block on that layer becomes unplayable, although it is still possible to remove the block from the other end. Now, as mathematicians, we want to ask, what if there are only two players and they have perfect dexterity, meaning any move that is physically feasible in the sense that I just described, they're able to execute with perfect accuracy? Well, then we see Jenga becomes a combinatorial game. And in fact, whoever makes the last gravitationally feasible move is going to win, because their opponent will be faced with a position where any move at all will cause the tower to collapse due to gravity. Moreover, we see that all of the layers are independent, and we can analyze their move structure separately.
So, putting this all together, all that matters to describe a position in Jenga is the number of playable complete layers. And remember, the topmost complete layer of any Jenga tower is unplayable, so that's what I mean when I say playable. The number of playable incomplete layers and the number of bricks on top. And that number is always 0, 1, or 2, because as soon as a third brick is placed on top, the number on top resets to 0, and a new complete layer is open for play. Now, at the start of a game of Jenga, we have 17 playable complete layers, 0 playable incomplete layers, and 0 bricks on top. And at the end, we have 0 playable complete layers, 0 playable incomplete layers, and k bricks on top, although that is still always 0, 1, or 2. And from now on, we're going to refer to the playable complete layers as C's and the playable incomplete layers as I's. So now we're asking who wins and how. And to answer this question, we have developed a strategy that will allow you to win at Jenga every time. So all you have to do is master the dexterity element. First, though, it's important to note that in Jenga, it turns out that everything is mod 3. So all of the numbers on the next few slides are mod 3. Now I'm just going to give you the strategy. With 0 bricks on top, play to leave 0 C's and 0 I's, or 2 C's and 0 I's. And remember, everything is mod 3, so when I say 0 C's and 0 I's, I mean 0 mod 3 C's and 0 mod 3 I's. With 1 brick on top, play to leave any of these combinations. Don't worry about memorizing them. We'll tell you how you can get to the strategy at the end of this talk. And with 2 bricks on top, play to leave any of these combinations. If you can't make any of these moves, you might as well resign or hope that your opponent makes a mistake. So now we're asking who wins. Now remember that at the start of a game of Jenga, we have 17 C's and 0 I's. Mod 3, that is 2 C's and 0 I's. So according to the strategy, there is no correct move for the first player to make. So Jenga is a second player win. So if you find yourself playing first in Jenga, you might as well resign at the beginning.
We managed to fit a proof that this strategy works on a single slide. Unfortunately, we don't have time to explain why this is a proof. But in your exchange gift bag, you'll find our paper on combinatorial Jenga, which spells out the details.
And last but not least, in the exhibit room, we have a specially constructed 3D printed combinatorial Jenga set that allows you to master the dexterity element so you can focus on the mathematics. So in your spare time, head on up to the exhibit room and challenge your friends to a game of combinatorial Jenga. There will also be an instruction sheet with a QR code leading to the strategy. Thank you.